Miles Morales deserves all the love he gets, and with his popularity growing exponentially since his introduction, we the fans get to be treated to a whole handful of versions of the character, each wilder than the last. I'm Adam Andrews with Top 10 Nerd, and this is the top 10 alternate versions of Miles Morales. Coming in at number 10 is Earth 616. Most fans of Miles Morales know this already, but for those who aren't aware, the Miles Morales that has become the second Spider-Man and who all the alternate Miles are based on is actually not native to the main Marvel universe. That Miles actually comes from Marvel's Ultimate Universe, the Earth 1610 universe. So then, that kind of begs the question of who and where the heck is the main continuity Miles Morales? Well, he's there, but he is much different. Miles Morales was a member of the Rigoletto crime family who ended up with a 3-year sentence in Rikers Island to cover for his cousin, which got him the respect of the family and of Wilson Fisk, who Miles saved in prison. Miles and Fisk opened a restaurant together after they both got out, and when Wilson took over the crime family, he let Miles go and live a happy life with his wife. Unfortunately though, when his wife passed away, Miles went to find the same woman in an alternate universe, which brought him into conflict with Peter Parker and the main Miles Morales Spider-Man, and eventually brought him to Earth 1610, the Ultimate Universe, where he found his love again. Now when he returned to Earth 616, Miles had outfitted himself with an Ant-Man suit, Iron Man repulsors, and a Captain America looking shield, and he brought some friends in order to face his younger Miles counterpart and try and run the streets of New York once again. Number 9. Thor. Last year, in 2022, in case you were watching this from the future, we got a whole series of What If comics centered specifically around the character of Miles Morales, and each issue of that comic gave us a different Miles who had taken after a different hero. For the 4th issue of this series, the World Tree of Yggdrasil had found itself in Brooklyn, creating a version of Brooklyn that was Asgardified, or an Asgard that has been Brooklynified. I guess, you pick. In case you haven't guessed, the Miles Morales of temporary reality number 951 has indeed become Thor Odin's son. All the other classic pillars of the Thor mythos are here too, substituted with Miles' mom and dad for Frigga and Odin, his friends substituting as the Warriors 3, and of course his uncle Aaron as the trickster god Loki, who tricks Thor Odin's son Morales into stealing the skull of the frost giant Laufey in order to impress his pops. If you check this one out, please let me know what you think of all the rhyming and rapping this version of Miles tries to do, and if it made you cringe like it made me cringe, because it really did make me cringe like quite a lot. Why did they do that? I don't know. Number 8. Ultimate Spider-Ham. Spider-Ham is one of the most popular alternate versions of Spider-Man out there, but he is just an alternate version of Peter Parker. Luckily for us, his popularity coupled with the popularity of Miles Morales gave us Miles Morhames. Yes, that is his name, and he is the ultimate Spider-Pig. As is the case in seemingly all universes, Miles' uncle was secretly a masked criminal known in this universe as the Fowler. One of the items Fowler had stolen turned out to be a radioactive spider, which is the one that bit Miles, granting him his spider abilities. Following the passing of the original Spider-Ham when he defeated the Green Gobbler once and for all, Miles stepped up to take his mantle in order to become the ultimate Spider-Ham. The world that Miles hailed from, Earth 14094, ended up actually being destroyed by Dr. Doom after the world was saved from Galactopus, who, he's not an octopus, but get this, Galactus is a platypus. I mean, come on. I feel like I'm way too excited about this. After the destruction of his reality, Miles traveled the multiverse, warning other universes of how to protect themselves against calamity until he arrived on Earth 1610, where he stayed. Number 7. Hulk. I wasn't done with the What If Miles Morales stories yet. I can't just give you guys one of those awesome Miles Moraleses. I can give you all the Miles Moraleses. Yeah, Miles Morales in this issue is very much like his normal self, until the day that Uncle Aaron made a deal with Emil Blonsky. Aaron found himself in possession of a suspicious briefcase. Noticing a spider on said briefcase, Miles attempted to kill it, but instead accidentally knocked over the briefcase, which caused him to step on a nuclear cartridge, exposing himself to gamma radiation, and well, he got Hulkified in the middle of the night. Miles tries to keep his transformations on the down low and under control, enlisting the help of his friend Genki, who didn't believe him until Miles stepped on a Lego, which, as we all should know, causes a rage, and turned him into the Hulk. Eventually, Miles spied on his uncle as the Prowler as he was dealing with Emil, which is when his uncle made an attempt at Emil's life. Now during their kerfuffle, another briefcase was dropped and Uncle Aaron also found himself being exposed to gamma radiation, but this time he was turned into the Abomination. Number 6. Into the Spider-Verse. Yes, of course we have to talk about the version of Miles Morales appearing in the awesome animated Spider-Verse movies. Voiced by actor Shameik Moore, this version of Miles Morales brought the character to a very large audience with an origin story that differed slightly from his original counterpart, but it also still retains enough elements of that original story, which I believe is part of the reason his universe designation is Earth 1610B instead of having its own separate reality number. The best part of this Miles Morales though is when the Spider-Verse opens up and he gets to interact with the various other Spider-Men and women across the multiverse. The first movie was an absolute hit. It had a dope soundtrack, an amazing animation style with a superb cast, hilarious writing, and a heap of heartfelt moments. Now I have yet to see the sequel, but I am super excited to see where this Miles Morales goes with his story. Number 5. Mayor. This version of Miles Morales comes at us from the series known as The End, which basically chronicles the final stories of various different heroes in the Marvel landscape. Some of the most famous of these stories have been the Hulk The End and Deadpool The End, but for Miles Morales, his possible alternate future takes place decades from now in a ravaged place that was once New York City. Most places on Earth had been ravaged by monsters known as the Germs, with Brooklyn being one of the few places that had been saved and protected by this massive shield. Side note, I like how germs are the monsters here. Like, it's kind of like all those things you learn about as kids when germs were like little monsters, but now they're actual monsters. Kind of hilarious, kind of cool. I don't know. But after becoming Spider-Man and letting the world know his identity, Miles was chosen as mayor of Brooklyn and as its protector. He faced off against a Captain America wannabe known as Captain Last and his One America army of raiders. After Captain Last eventually merges with a germ in order to attack Brooklyn, Miles sacrifices his life to bring the Captain down and save the lives of everyone in Brooklyn. Good job. Way to go. Number 4. Wolverine. Yep, it's another Miles Morales what if, and I don't know why Wolverine is the last person I expected to see in this series, but I'm extremely okay with it. Miles Morales in this world is instead a mutant with the same abilities as Wolverine. When he is younger, Miles is stolen away alongside other children by Weapon X, who turn him into the adamantium skeleton superweapon just like the regular Wolverine. Now fast forward a few years, and now in this world, Sentinels are being used to hunt down mutants by S.H.I.E.L.D. And after Miles takes out like 3 of them, S.H.I.E.L.D. sends this super cool looking warrior wielding an adamantium katana to take Miles out. This awesome S.H.I.E.L.D. warrior turns out to be Miles' father, and once he discovers this Wolverine mutant is his own son, he instead turns on S.H.I.E.L.D., which is when they send in Miles' Uncle Aaron, who seems to be this world's version of Sabretooth. Miles' father defends his son to his dying breath until Miles jumps in to beat Sabretooth to a pulp and almost ends him before his father convinces him not to and to instead be a hero. It all wraps up with the X-Men showing up to recruit Miles, but led by Professor X, who is Genki Lee. It's just wild. It's so cool. Number 3. Vision Miles. No, this is not a highly advanced android version of Miles Morales. It is, in fact, the Miles Morales who exists in a possible future shown to us in a vision from the inhuman precog known as Ulysses Kane. The reason I want to talk about this seemingly insignificant version of Miles Morales who only appeared in a vision is because this Miles was able to take the life of Captain America. Now obviously Captain America is not an indestructible guy. He's not the most powerful hero and he could probably be taken out by any number of heroes, but the respect that Captain America carries and the influence he has makes him one of those characters that you simply do not see being taken out very often. So, to see it happen here in Civil War II at the hands of Miles Morales on the steps of the ruined United States Capitol building in the reality of Earth 61115 is one hell of a shocking image. I want to know what happens after Miles does this, but we won't know until a writer decides to take the initiative to put out a story set in this alternate crazy reality. Number 2, the Falcon. Temporary reality number 852 gave us a Miles whose history is similar to his Earth 1610 counterparts, only he never gained powers from a genetically engineered spider. Instead, this Miles' favorite heroes were the totally underrated Nighthawk and his sidekick and partner, the Falcon. Unfortunately, like how Spider-Man lost his life to the Goblin in the Ultimate reality, in this one, it's the Falcon that ultimately croaked at the hands of the Goblin. This devastated Miles, and he took it as his opportunity to take the reins. Creating a costume similar to the Falcon's using his electrical engineering skills, Miles aided Nighthawk as he was battling the villains Scorpion and Scorpia. But Nighthawk was not too receptive to this pretender coming in and trying to replace his old partner. Wanting to prove to Nighthawk that he could be a hero, Miles created the Young Squadron with Kid Spectrum and Girl Power. While Miles and the Young Squadron were fighting the Wrecking Crew, Miles was stolen away by the Goblin's partner Deadpool, who was attempting to make sure the Falcon Mantle never came back. Deadpool was eventually defeated by the other members of the Young Squadron, and after handing Deadpool over to Nighthawk, Miles and the Young Squadron decided to be a better team than the other heroes of their reality. And finally, in at number 1, Captain America. Yes, we are rounding off today's list with the very first of the What If Miles Morales stories, which in my opinion is one of the best. In the very first issue, Miles' dad is part of the new super soldier program inspired by the original that created Captain America. Uncle Aaron, who always plays a large part in Miles' life, steals the super soldier serum and keeps it in his fridge, which is where Miles finds it looking for a drink. It turns out Miles is actually a perfect match for the serum, and he becomes the new Captain America. It's super cool because not only is Miles the new Cap, but Tiana Toombs becomes the Falcon and Sam Wilson becomes the new director of S.H.I.E.L.D. with the eye patch and everything. Uncle Aaron becomes Prowler after being attacked by Black Widow, and Lonnie Lincoln is the Grey Skull, which is this reality's Red Skull. Miles here seems to be just as powerful as the normal Captain America, if not a little younger and by extension, a little bit more naive. But that's all I got. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Adam Andrews, this is Top 10 Nerd, and I will catch you all on the flippy flop. Peace out, nerds.